Your main focus was time. You did not fit within the time.
I forgot to ask the time to be changed.
It's not an excuse, Bill.
Regardless, I went through and I timed each section of your speech. And if you picked only the sections that were core to the story that you were telling, you would have fit directly in the middle of your time for today. So there is certainly room to improve on your timing. What you did do well is you did incorporate some of the feedback from the previous speech. Your opening slide, like the opening slide and the story about the book, engaged the audience. That worked well. It was significantly shorter and it set up the story really well. This is what the author talked about with his dad and the other father. Here's what I experienced. I'm going to be talking about finances. Great, set the story. The other thing that you did is you set up a very relatable emotional part with your family, how you were raised, like losing your father, and then moved on into the story. And that's great. I would challenge you to consider finding other ways to tie emotional elements into the story. One of the things that you also did was you walked through charts on the economy, which are really useful, and many of us are into finance. That being said, for those who aren't into finance, charts on their own aren't inherently all that interesting. Some of your commentary, like saying, in technical terms, that means the economy sucked, were funny, memorable, and it gave human context to what those charts meant. I'd consider adding some additional context to some of the ones like the inflation graph, or the one about, the third one. There was oil prices, inflation, some third one. Interest rates. And I'd also consider adding some additional numeracy into this. So mentioning that someone got an $1,800 a month loan on a $90,000 total loan. Okay, I know that's high, but I had to really think through, okay, how high is that? Is that really that unusual? Where does that fall? There are a lot of numbers floating around, and I think there are ways that you could have tied it to people's lived or emotional experience. That being said, again, you had really good variety. You got excited about the story. You had a lot of background of your family, dogs, moved to Texas. And I think that you do have good humor to lighten a fairly dry subject, and you have interesting philosophy about investments that you can include. Just make sure to tie the emotions in the story into those elements so that they're easier for people to remember. Overall, I'm looking for your correctly timed next version of this speech, which I'm sure is coming up. Thank you.